What's up, guys? Ninth Gym here, and today we're going to be talking about these usage stats over here, all of them for Series 1. We finally have official usage stats, and all of the banned guys are taken out. So we're gonna just look at some usage stats, see what everything is popular, and maybe be able to look into the move sets and stuff of some of these Pokemon, and just update you, let you know what all is going on. So let's just jump right into it. We got here starting off. Let's look at the top 10. Right, we'll look at the top 10 first. We have Amoonguss, Garchomp, Grimmsnarl, Arcanine, Annihilate, top 5, Goldango, Armarouge, Garganical, Murkrow, and Indeedee F. Really interesting seeing both pieces of Psy Spam in the top 10. I mean, you would definitely think they're closely related, but I'm saying it's interesting seeing them in the top 10. I haven't seen them that much in the game, like in laddering and stuff. So I'm pretty surprised to see them here. We also have Garganical all the way up here, and that's another one that I'm kind of surprised to see in top 10 usage stats. And honestly, same with Annihilate. I think Annihilate is really strong, but seeing it in top 10 is a little surprising to me. I would definitely think maybe top 20. I would think maybe top 20. But 20% usage stat when Amoonguss is 30 is pretty wild. So in first we have Amoonguss, and that comes as no surprise at all. Spore, Rage Powder, Clear Smog, like that's just an exactly expected set. There's nothing too crazy there. And as far as teammates go, well, it's the most expected team. We have probably the most expected team up here, actually. Amoonguss, Garchomp, Grimmsnarl, Arcanine are all four just incredible, or like, Amoonguss, Grimmsnarl, Arcanine are the main three Glumons of the format. Everybody's using them. It's, Incineroar, Rillaboom of the last, series in Sword and Shield. Now we have Amoonguss, Arcanine. That's everywhere. We also have Grimmsnarl, the Pokemon that just sets screens. These three Pokemon are the most glue format Pokemon we have, or glue Pokemon in the format we have. We have Grimmsnarl using Reflect, Light Screen, Parting Shot, Spirit Break, very typical. Fake Out as well, Thunder Wave. A lot of really good things on here. Taunt, Trick with a Lagging Tail, Sucker Punch, this Misty Terrain. I'm actually pretty surprised to not see Scary Face at all in here. I guess people are just ballsy enough to use Thunder Wave. I know I am, but I wouldn't think everybody in the world is. Arcanine, Flare Blitz, Snarl, Will-O-Wisp, Protect, the most expected set, and that just makes sense. It has access to Extreme Speed as well, and we're seeing Heat Wave down here at the 4%. That makes sense. It's a little unfortunate seeing so much like physical. I think personally, I just like special attacking Arcanine more most of the time in the format because of the amount of Arcanine, You're doing more damage with Heat Wave than an Intimidated Flare Blitz most of the time. And you're not investing into attack. Like, that'd be, I don't know, kind of wild to invest into attack on this Pokemon because you're just investing into bulk. We have been seeing some Terra-type Grass on here, actually, which is kind of funny. And Terra-type Fire, sure. Are you ever using this thing as your offensive Terra? It's kind of weird, but okay. We have Garchomp as the most used attacker in the format, the most used sweeper Pokemon, just dealing damage. We have Earthquake, Dragon Claw, Protect, Swords Dance as the most used set, and that just makes sense. I was using Rock Slide in my set the other day in my last video. If you haven't seen that, just check that out. It's a good video. And Rock Slide gets wide guarded, and so does your Earthquake. So I don't know. Dragon Claw definitely makes the most sense to have on there. It's also just regular stab instead of having to go into like Rock Stab or something. I like this set. I think I figured I kind of felt like I was gonna change to Dragon Claw because Rock Slide is good and all, but it misses. Wide guard, We have Annihilate here, which is the first interesting mon to be in the top 10, right? Annihilate is good. It's really good. It has access to Final Gambit. It has a powerful signature move in Rage Fist. It's very solid. It has access to Bulk Up and Drain Punch for just like it can set up in your face with Bulk Up, and then it can just Drain Punch away and then heal, and it's really solid. You don't even have to use it as like a Scarf Gambit user, how I've been using it. You also have access to things like U-Turn, which is really interesting. It has Rock Slide and just good coverage in the form of Ice Punch and U-Turn, Close Combat, Rage Fist. Like, it's a good Pokemon. It's a very strong Pokemon. I'm seeing it used a lot on the Dondozo Tatsugiri strat, and yeah, next to Flamigo on the same Dondozo Tatsugiri strat. It's good. It's good. Let's see Terra types. Fire? Really? Just so I can't get Will-O-Wisp, maybe? Steel, Water, Ghost? Alright. There's a guy, Goldango. He's number 6. This doesn't really surprise me that's in number 10, or in the top 10, because I think this guy is so good. I mean, this Pokemon is just ridiculously good. It has very solid stats across the board, good special attack, or like really good special attack, solid bulk. It's just a really good, well-rounded Pokemon. I've been seeing it used as Scarf. I've been using it choice specs. I've been seeing it a lot of different ways. It can work under Trick Room. It can work out of Trick Room. It can work really well in Tailwind. It's really good. It has an amazing stab spread move, Make It Rain. Really good. You can Steel Terra it to make It Rain even more ridiculous. If you're not okay with the damage that choice specs can give you, you go Nasty Plot, and this thing just does huge damage. It also has Dazzling Gleam as well as another really strong stab or spread move that you can make stab with the Terra. Nobody's doing that, but all right. I'm seeing Flying Terra here. That's interesting. Steel is the go-to because of Make It Rain. 2 times stab Make It Rain is pretty ridiculous. It's good. Goldengo's good. Next, we'll talk about Armor Rouge, and we'll also just lump this in with the Indeedee because they're both here in top 10. And they make for the same team. They're going to be on the same team 99% of the time. We have Armor Rouge, doing some really interesting stuff. Expanding Force. It also has access to Trick Room, so it's going to be on a flexible in or out of Trick Room team a lot of the time. We're going to see that a lot of the time. It's not just ever going to be Expanding Force spam. We also have Armor Cannon, which is just a good, stab move for this guy. We also have Heat Wave, so if you want, you can just go double spread move, Expanding Force, Heat Wave, and that's really good. It has access to Wide Guard, which is really cool. Stored Power. I've seen Stored Power, Weakness Policy, Weak Armor that one time on my channel. It was good. It was pretty good. With Flamigo. Calm Mind is available. These are the typical teams you're going to be seeing. You're going to see Armor Rouge and DDF, and Armor Rouge is going to be setting the Trick Room, so then you're going to have Torkoal on the team. And everything else is kind of just like, go with whatever you want. We've seen Grass Terra. I've been seeing a lot of Grass Terra. You also have access to Energy Ball. So, yeah, Grass Terra. Expect some Grass Terra. Very cool. Very interesting. Garganical is a Pokemon that I like a lot. This is going to be one that I build around very, very soon. Salt Cure, Iron Defense, Body Press, Recover. Very solid set. You don't always need Protect. I like Protect on this Pokemon. I think it's very good because you have Salt Cure and Leftovers a lot of the time. But if you don't go down that route, you go the Iron Defense, Body Press, you want Salt Cure. Recover is pretty good. Recover is pretty good. I don't know if you want to forego Protect for it, but I don't know if you want to take away Recover. It's a very valuable asset on this Pokemon. You also have access to Wide Guard, which is really good, and it's probably the best Explosion user in the format. You also have Rock Slide, which is good, and I've been seeing people set it up with Curse in singles. I've heard that's what you do in singles a lot of the time. Curse is very viable here. It's like when we had like Registeel and stuff. Regirock. Curse Regirock was gross. Garganical is kind of just the same, but a not legendary Pokemon. Pretty solid. Just really good all around. Just very, very strong. Do wish it had a little bit better of a special defense since its defense is supplementable, but, whatever. Of course, it makes sense to be on, most used on Grimmsnarl teams because of screens. You want this guy to sit behind screens, and that's great. And Tyranitar is here as well. And yeah, that just makes sense. We've got a lot of Terastallizing into Ghost, which makes sense. Get away from that, big weakness to fighting. Pretty good. Get a whole buffer turn sometimes, You Terra Ghost and then start cursing. I mean, that's pretty cool. I think you'd rather not curse in Ghost, but, whatever. It's still pretty cool. Does some good stuff. I think Garganical is really strong. Just out of top 10, or actually, wait, still in top 10, we have Murkrow, which is crazy. Crazy Murkrow is a top 10 Pokemon. Not the craziest in the world. It is probably our best Tailwind Prankster user. We, of course, have Talonflame. It can get faked out. It can get a whole mess of different, like, priority attack moves or stuff before Gale Wings can pop off. You can use Covert Cloak. You can use Focus Sash. You can use Protect. You can use Quick Guard. Murkrow is doing Prankster Tailwind. It has access to Prankster Haze. It has access to Prankster Taunt. This guy is just really good. It's not doing a lot of damage, but you do have access to Brave Bird on a 85 base attack, which is relevant damage. You have Quash, you have Thunder Wave, you have Perish Song, you have Sunny Day, Rain Dance, all those. You have Snarl, Foul Play if you're just looking to do damage in this pretty strong Swords Dance, D-Dance meta. It's good, is what I'm saying. Murkrow's really good, this format. Really good. Surprisingly. We're seeing it with every Pokemon. I mean, realistically, this guy can fit on a really, really wide array of teams. And it makes sense to be with Garchomp, because Garchomp just really needs that Tailwind. Since it doesn't D-Dance, it goes Swords Dance, go +2, don't go Speed. You definitely want the Tailwind on the Garchomp teams. It makes sense. No Terra. Nobody's Terraing this guy. Why would you ever Terra Murkrow, huh? Answer that question. I don't think you're gonna. Maybe Terra Ghost to get around Fake Out, but then your Terra is so weak. I mean, your Terra should be putting in work. It is the gimmick of the format. Imagine you Dynamax to not get Fake Out, and that was it. You still just had regular base power moves. No, you're still Terraing things that matter. Out of the top 10, and it still feels like we're in the top 10 because these are really valuable Pokemon. We have Rotom Wash. This is an incredible Pokemon. Just out of top 10, usage stat 14 still, which is a really, really viable usage stat, a really high usage stat. Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, Protect, Nasty Plot, the most expected set. We still have things like Volt Switch, Discharge in the meta, Will-O-Wisp. It has access to Will-O-Wisp, guys. We can never forget that. Terra Blast if you're Terraing out of it. Trick Room, because Choice Scarf Trick Room, one setup, guys, is just ridiculous still. That's still something that's amazing. Really cool. You have access to Helping Hand. That'll be in the bottom of the moves every time, but it's a very valuable move. The stats are great. I mean, I don't have to talk about Rotom Wash, right? You guys know what's up with Rotom Wash. It just fits on so many teams. It's realistically the best Rotom, but there's, you know, arguments for Heat as well, and that's really it. I mean, Rotomo is cool and all, but not as good. Electric or Fire Terra, you know, all of these. Fire Terra actually is kind of wild. I did some good calcing with Nasty Plot and Water Terra to make Hydro Pump knock out Garchomp, all Garchomp builds instantly. Not all, because some are going to be built bulky from here on out, but yeah, really, really good Pokemon. Really good Pokemon. Torkoal to be number 12. This guy's just really good. You have access to Drought, Eruption, Terra, Fire, Eruption. Choice Specs is just the most damage we can do feasibly in the game right now. It's hitting harder than Garchomp with Swords Dance setup. It's just a ridiculously good Pokemon. You put it on a team with Lilligant, and you're just doing so much work. It can have access to Solar Beam for free, which is cool. You have Body Press. You have Yawn as a mix-up. It's just really good. You have Earth Power. You can even make that Earth Power Stab if you wanted to. I don't think you're gonna be, but it's there. You also have access to Clear Smog on this Pokemon, which is just really interesting. You're seeing 100% Fire Terra. It says 20, but I mean, what else are you Terraing? I know, I just said you can make Earth Power Stab with Terra. But Terra Eruption is why we're here. Dondozo, where's Tatsugiri? Down here, a little bit lower. That makes sense. Dondozo is never really going to be on a VGC team alone. It's always going to have Tatsugiri, but I guess you have a little bit of variance. Dondozo's killing it. Dondozo is killing it. We've seen already a bunch of players, you know, just praising Dondozo. All the top VGC players have loved Dondozo, been making Dondozo teams and VGC ranked climbs using Dondozo. It's just an amazing Pokemon. It has Order Up, which is a great signature move that ups one of its stats you can choose. It's really good. This Pokemon has access to Sub. It's interesting that this isn't in the top 5, but I guess it makes sense. Most builds are going to be running Order Up, Earthquake, and Wave Crash, and then Protect or Sub. But I think the best move sets are usually going to be using Sub and Protect, which means you're going to forego one of these moves. So whatever your Terra is, you're going to use that move, and then you're probably going to use Wave Crash. So you're probably going to be using Order Up and Wave Crash, or Earthquake and Wave Crash. But you can't really miss out on Order Up. So I feel like the best sets are usually just forgoing Earthquake at this point. But not always. You're still 1v2ing a lot of the time, and Earthquake is very valuable in that. But there's Wide Guard. Not everywhere. It's actually very few and far between. But yeah, overall, it's really good. You also do have access to Body Press, which is cool, and you have access to things like Ice Fang for a little bit of coverage. You have Terra Blast if you really want to, but I don't know. Dragon and Ground are the most used Terras, with Dragon being the by far most used Terra, and that just makes sense. We're seeing Steel as number 3, getting around that Clear Smog. It just makes sense. And why wouldn't we talk about Tatsugiri here with it? We have Endure, which is really cool. We're seeing Endure Toxic Orb starting out, which is pretty cool. I've seen some Sub even, which is pretty cool. We have things like Muddy Water and Draco Meteor on this pretty solid typing Pokemon. And honestly, you can go both ways. You can let Tatsugiri faint and then bring in Flamigo if you want. That's a really cool way to use it. You also have the ability to just leave a max HP Tatsugiri in your party. Once your Dondozo faints, you still have Tatsugiri comes out, and then you have your other Pokemon come out, and then you have Muddy Water, Draco Meteor, on things like Choice Specs on this Pokemon. You have access to pretty fast Icy Winds on this Pokemon as well. It's good. I think Tatsugiri is still a viable Pokemon on its own. Not like, you're not going to be using just Tatsugiri. It does have Storm Drain, but I think if you're ever going to be using a Storm Drain Pokemon, you're going to be using Gastrodon still. But it's still relevant to talk about. We have Tyranitar, another really powerful weather setter in the format. You still have access to pretty good Rock Slides. You have this Pokemon's viable in or out of Trick Room. Usually going to be out of Trick Room, but it's still there. You have access to D-Dance on this guy. It still has a lot of tools, right? It still has a lot of tools. You can Terra out of Rock Dark. Is Ghost its most popular? Actually, Rock is, but that's okay. It still gets rid of the 4 times. You still have the Rock weaknesses, but that's okay, right? You still have Rock 2 times Rock Slides on a D-Dance user. Pretty crazy. Still really good. You also have access to some really interesting synergies here. You have access to Garganical and Houndstone. Both are good. For Farigiraf, a Pokemon I was sleeping on. I didn't think this Pokemon was very good, but it is solid. It does have the ability that is really good. It's Queenly Majesty, basically, on a new name, Armor Tail. You have access to get it for going Fake Out. You don't have to worry about Fake Out. You don't have to worry about Extreme Speed Dragonite. You don't have to worry about Sucker Punch. There's a lot of things that you don't have to worry about with this Pokemon because of that ability. It's very good. You have access to Trick Room. You have Hyper Voice here, which is interesting. Maybe we're seeing Throat Spray builds. Maybe. You also have Dazzling Gleam on this solid normal psychic type Pokemon. Hyper Voice is really good. You have Throat Spray, Hyper Voice on your stab, Hyper Voice. You could Terra normal, have 2 times Hyper Voices with a +1 from Throat Spray. It's pretty viable. 60 speed is not bad on your Trick Room, and being able to take away, Fake Out. It's pretty good. You also have Imprison, which is really strong. I love Imprison. Taking away Protect, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Also, if you're up against a Trick Room team, you can EV your things to outspeed Trick Room guys and then Imprison, so there's no Trick Room. It's good. It's viable. It's very good. I like this Pokemon a lot. I definitely want to use it. I thought it was bad. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was bad. Now it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I've seen the light. Sylveon is another really powerful Hyper Voice Stab user. Hyper Voice does become Stab with its ability Pixelate, and then you Throat Spray. This is the same thing as Farigiraf, but on a 110 special attack instead of 110 special attack. They're pretty similar, but this has meager bulk. This one has pretty good bulk, except for the physical defense. So I don't know. Sylveon is pretty cool. Farigiraf does a lot of similar things as Sylveon, just completely similar, very similar things now. But Sylveon has that extra 20% damage from Pixelate, so that's pretty cool. You also have access to Calm Mind on here, which is pretty neat. You have Terra Blast. If you want to go with that over Moonblast if you're going for Fairy. You have different Terra types that you can do as well, but I think Fairy, Terra, Hyper Voice with Pixelate is just the move for Sylveon. I think nobody's really arguing that that's the intent here. It's good. It's good is what I'm saying. We have Gyarados, and this guy's pretty cool. It's a solid Intimidate user. It has access to Dragon Dance, which is pretty cool. You can Terra Ground and have Stab Earthquakes, as well as just powerful Waterfalls. I think this is definitely the most expected set. Earthquake, Waterfall, Dragon Dance, Protect. But you do have things like Crunch and Ice Fang and Iron Head. All good coverage. Very good coverage. Ground type Terra is the most used. Makes sense. Dragapult, pretty good. Dragon Darts, Phantom Force, Dragon Dance, Protect. Most expected. You do see some special attacking sets, but why? Not really sure. You would use special attacking Dragapult to evade Intimidate, but you have Clear Body. Or you can go Clear Amulet and Infiltrator, and that's pretty good too. So I don't really know why we're seeing those mixed attacking builds, or just special attacking builds in general. You do have access to Sucker Punch as well, which is really good. The Surf for the Colossal stuff, but you can't Dynamax anymore. You have Will-O-Wisp, which is really cool. So interesting to see potentially support Dragapults. I would definitely go for Dragon Dance offense Dragapults, but do you, boo-boo. We got Meowscarada here in top 20, which is really cool. Because this Pokemon, I actually got wrecked by one the other day. it was doing some really big damage. It just Terra Grassed and Oko'd my Garchomp, and I was like, whoa. Okay, Meowscarada. Okay. Flower Trick's really good. Always hitting a crit is really, really good. You also have access to Stab, Sucker Punch, which is, once again, very, very good. You have Knockoff. You have U-Turn. Really cool stuff. This set makes me think people are using it Choice Banded a lot of the time. I don't know. That's cool, though. I think this Pokemon's solid, and it has access to Trick Room. Cool. Wait, it gets Ally Switch? Wait, I thought Ally Switch was not in this game. Is it like Meowscarada? Alright, hold on. Okay, I guess Ally Switch is here. I could have sworn that it was gone. Maybe it's just gone as TM, so you only get it on a couple Pokemon. I saw people all over Facebook saying that it was gone. Okay. Oh well. Ally Switch is still here, whatever. I don't hate Ally Switch. I hate it sometimes when it's used against me, and sometimes it feels bad, but I don't hate it in the meta. I think it's definitely something that you can play around and feel smart about playing around it. We got King Gambit, and this is an interesting Pokemon to see this high up in usage stats, all the way up to 21. Now, this isn't high in usage stats anymore, so we're going to be going through these a little bit more briefly. King Gambit is still pretty cool. Water Terra, I've seen a lot of, and it's definitely up there in the usage stat. It is really bulky, and that is really cool. That's very solid. You also still have that Stab, Sucker Punch. How powerful is Stab, Sucker Punch? Very powerful. It's very good. We like it a lot. Iron Head, Gotel Cleave, all this normal stuff. You got Swords Dance, which is pretty cool. You got Terra Blast. Pretty basic. We got Dragonite here with the Extreme Speed stand. Pretty understandable to see it this low in usage stats here without the Qianpao. The damage is not always going to be there with Qianpao. I still think it's a really, really viable Pokemon. I still think it's really good, but it did get a bit of a hit from Qianpao. But overall, it's very good still. You have access to Dragon Dance now as well, which is cool. And yeah, just overall pretty solid. You have a lot of different coverage moves with this guy. Ice Spinner, Rock Slide. You have access to Tailwind. You have Aqua Jet. This Pokemon has a lot of tools at its disposal still, and we're still seeing only Terra-type normal, which makes sense because it's an extreme speed stand. Flamigo 23 is pretty cool. It does a neat little gimmick where it copies the stats of everything else. It's used on Dundozo teams. It's used with the Armor Rouge. It's used with other stuff that just gets ridiculously strong with Omni boosts and multiple different boosts with weakness policy and abilities. And very solid Pokemon. It's cool. Mousehold is an interesting Pokemon. I've been seeing it used primarily as a supportive Pokemon when I thought it was going to be doing technician damage more so, as you saw in my other video. Population Bomb is still a pretty cool move, but it has access to Follow Me, and if something has access to Follow Me, it's going to be using Follow Me. That's just how it is. It's that powerful of an attack here in VGC. We have access to Beat Up, which is cool. I've only seen the Beat Up strat with Armor Rouge the one time. I think it's definitely cool, but it is a little gimmicky without Dynamax because your things become very frail. You have Tidy Up as well, which is an interesting move, but that's about it. Yeah. Kilowattrel is pretty cool. It has the very powerful ability to charge whenever it uses Tailwind, so you get Tailwind and then a really powerful electric type move. You have Discharge with things like, you know, your Garchomps and stuff like that, and that is the most used synergy, and that just makes sense. That's about it for this guy. It's pretty cool. It does have competitive as well. I don't know if that's going to be used as much. I think the charge is very, very valuable on this Pokemon, but could be used. Talonflame down here, another really powerful Tailwind accessory. It also has access to Will-O-Wisp, and it has pretty strong Flare Blitz and Brave Birds with a attack 81 stat. Honestly, funny that it's about the same attack stat as Murkrow, which is just funny. Just funny. I don't know. This guy's pretty solid. I've been using it, but Murkrow is very, very usable as well. And we have Talonflame and Kilowattrel down here when Murkrow is top 10. So it just speaks to say that, you know, he's top 10. With Gastrodon down here, very valuable still. It has Storm Drain still, but it did lose Scald. You still have access to Muddy Water and the Chilling Water, but, you know, it was a hit to lose Scald, for sure, for sure. Baxcalibur is an interesting mon. I ran into it one time, thought it was going to do ridiculous damage. It didn't do enough, even without Reflect yet. It still just wasn't doing the damage. I think it's cool. The attack stat at 145 is really good. 87 speed is, like, fine, and its bulk is, like, like, it's okay. You have Glaive Rush, which is a cool move, but, I mean, it's really just, like, another Dragon Dance move guy, but you have Garchomp in the format that's doing Swords Dance better damage, right? You have Dragon Dance, Dragapult. You have better options in Baxcalibur. It's cool and all, but you have better options most of the time. Cerulege is neat, not really doing too much. Bitterblade's a really good move, but, like, whatever. It's just another setup guy, like a Bulk Up or Swords Dance, and like I said, there's typically a better option for it. Hariyama's cool, works under Trick Room pretty well. It has Fake Out, it's solid Pokemon. Wide Guard, which is cool. Titan is a really solid Pokemon for your Ice team, your Snow team. But are we using Snow without Iron Bundle? Probably still some, but not a lot. Abomasnow is kind of the worst, you know, form of weather setter that we ever have had. It still has a Aurora Veil, which is pretty cool, and Snow got a buff, but I don't know. How viable is it? Skeledirge is cool. I'm surprised we're seeing it down this low. I did think there was a lot of hype built around this guy, but that speed stat is just unfortunate. It does have access to Slack Off, which is cool though. You have Slack Off and Torch Song, which is solid with Hyper Voice. Or with Throat Spray. You have very strong +2 right off rip Skeledirge, which is cool, but that speed stat leaves a lot to be wanted. And yeah. Scizor is cool. I like him. You know, you have access to really powerful Bullet Punch that can be double stab now with things like Iron Fist or Choice Band. And this guy's cool. Sucks that Rain sucks. Lilligant all the way down here when Torkoal's all the way up there is a bit interesting, but it makes sense. Hydreigon's cool. Tinkaton's kind of cool, but kind of bad. I think Tinkaton's cool. It really just like has, you know, its signature move, Gigaton Hammer, and its Steel Fairy typing, and that's really where it ends. It does have Fake Out, which is good, but I really wish this thing had a really good ability. It just doesn't really. Like, its abilities are fine, but not great. Volcarona is solid. I'm surprised it's this low. Azumarill is solid. I'm surprised it's this low. Palafin Hero is solid. I'm surprised it's this low. I'm going to say this for a few more guys, but yeah, Glamora, I'm surprised it's this high. Salamence, I'm kind of surprised it's this high. Mousehold. Breloom is solid. I really like Breloom. My camera died. Alright, well, my camera died, so I guess I'm going to end the video here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We're getting to the kind of repetitive stuff where I say, oh, this is higher or lower than it should be. And, yeah, I'll leave the link to Picolytics down here in the description, but you guys know what Picolytics is by now, I would hope. So, yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. You know, subscribe. We're trying to get to 10K this year. Big goal, so let's work towards it together. Goodbye.